Welcome back in, randos,
to Fandom at Random.
Oh yeah. Same time, same channel. You know where to find us.
Same peoples.
Same peoples. Actually, a little bit different. Something looks different about you, Brian. What's going on over there?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that hat is facing forward. My God.
Oh boy.
That clashes with our logo, man.
I just had to fix it up a bit, change it up.
That's pretty sweet. Is that a Lord Hobo hat?
Of course it is.
Oh, man.
I got it in black and yellow.
Damn.
Yes, sir.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
But
black
yeah,
and...
when girls cut their hair, they need something new. I just had to turn the hat around.
Well, welcome into the Fandom at Random podcast, and we're going back to the 90s. This is our roots today, and it was if you're a fan of Friends and the Friends fandom, we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
The reunion show dropped on HBO Max, and it made a lot of money. Made a whole lot of money, Brian.
Yeah, I found out they were getting paid like $1 million each. It was halfway through the Friends TV show. I don't know how much they made on the reunion, but they were making $1 million each by the time that show ended.
Yeah, they were each making about $1 million, which, again, that show was on a while ago.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money.
Yes, it was.
And never mind through syndication alone. And, really the only one that did a lot after was Jennifer Aniston. I know they each had a couple different projects here and there.
Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston, I think, were like the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Because Courtney Cox has Scream under her belt, one of the biggest horror franchises ever.
Yeah, and Matthew Perry was just a mess, man.
Oh, good Lord. He's
that
like
guy.
One pubic hair short of Brendan Fraser style. Like, he went out with a bang.
Yeah. But it was... We're rambling here, random ramble, but this is the reason that we decided, we started talking about it. We hinted at it last week, but 90s sitcoms. And there's so many great 90s sitcoms. Brian and I, we were born in the 80s. We grew up kids of the 90s, and we grew up with a lot of these sitcoms playing in our households.
Yeah.
And it was tough. So we decided, we're like, all right, we each need to rank our top 10. We'll do what we usually do. We won't talk to one another. Then we'll rank them. Then we'll mash them together, make the consensus ranking. And really the only rule we had was no animation allowed. So we were sticking to strictly live action. Again, this list was inspired by the Friends reunion. So we were like, all right, it's going to be live action 90s sitcoms. And dude, it was I don't want to say it was impossible, but I'm like, all right, this isn't going to be an issue. There were a lot of good ones, but it shouldn't be a problem. I sat there for like an hour.
I was so wrong. I was so wrong.
Because I started like curating my list, and like we usually do. And you're usually, depending on what we're pulling from, you could have anywhere from 20 to 30, sometimes up to 100 different choices. And there was a good amount of choices, and I'm trying to narrow my list down, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm still like 30 shows deep.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of this one. I don't, but this one could go here. Oh, it was. I think the only other one that was as hard for me was Supernatural. The Supernatural episodes.
Yeah, that was a tricky one too. But this was fun. And I was surprised, like when I finally got to look at your list versus my list, and we had some discrepancies in here.
I think, honestly, like the 3 years difference in age really kind of tweaked our list a little bit.
Yeah. And as always, these lists are personal preference. We pour our heart and soul into this podcast, and part of that is we're not going to pander.
No.
We're not, unless it's a Phantom Fighters.
Yes.
Then I'm going to pander the hell to get your votes.
Pander the shit out of you.
So, what is a sitcom? So a sitcom is a television series that involves a continuing cast of characters in a succession of comedic circumstances. And it was funny, like when I mentioned to people that I don't know about you, but I was like, yeah, we're doing 90s sitcoms. What are some of your favorites? And they started throwing out shows that aren't sitcoms. Like I had, I think it was my wife. She's like, oh, Seventh Heaven. I'm like, no, man, that's a drama.
Yeah, that
is a drama.
Man. Not even a dramedy, but a drama.
Yeah, and
Although it did cross my mind, but I thought it was pretty easy. Like I told you before, the only one I questioned was Power Rangers, and that was kind of
not a
me.
sitcom.
That was kind of me doing a loophole thing. Like, well, it's procedural. They film it on the same set, and it's pretty much comedy. So, but yeah, that was towing the line. But otherwise, it's pretty clear what a sitcom is. But some people think other shows like Seventh Heaven or a few other ones can make it up there.
well, I tell you what, we'll make our spiritual our spiritual number one pick is Power Rangers.
Yeah. I
So-
rewatched it today.
Did you really?
I am not ashamed to say I still
Power
loved it.
Rangers!
And I went on my DVD hunt at Savers, and they had the Power Rangers movie on sale, so I
Oh,
got that.
shit.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I never saw the new Rangers movie. I actually heard it was pretty good.
Oh.
The live
Yeah.
action one?
Oh, you mean from 95?
No,
Oh,
no.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, no, I don't know about the other one.
It came out a couple years ago.
Power
Apparently, it
Rangers
was pretty
Turbo
good.
or something.
No. It was like a live action that was pretty good. They tried taking it seriously, but I don't know.
Oh, that one with Elizabeth Banks. Yeah.
Yes, yep.
It was good.
Yeah. Speaking of the 95 film, not to, again, go on too much of a tangent, but I remember going to that in theaters.
Me too. I think I
and
had a
it
birthday
was
party.
Awesome.
It was so, dude, when they had those like silk ninja uniforms and they were fighting in the jungle.
Oh, yeah.
I got out of my birthday party. There was like 5 kids. We got out of there and just started kicking the shit out of each other. And we got in so much trouble. But it was so awesome. I thought there was 2 movies. Ivan Ooze, I thought was a second movie. But it's actually all one movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I didn't even realize
Ivan
that.
Ooze, man. Wow.
Yep.
I completely forgot about
The
that.
way they kick the enemies and they burst into goo. It was like kind of violent, but because they were goo, it wasn't that violent.
Hey, when it's goo, anything counts. So let's get into our top 10, and we're going to skip the news at random today because Brian, he's heading out on vacation early tomorrow. So this is kind of a rapid random episode, but it's going to be a fun one.
Yes, sir.
So again, consensus ranking, top 10 90s sitcoms. What came in at number 10? I wish I should go grab my bass quick. Just a boom, 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 boom. Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Seinfeld. So I had this at number 6. Brian, this was not in your top 10.
Niet.
Niet.
There's 2 that would not make my list that you might be surprised about, but never watched Seinfeld. I think I've seen 1 episode in my life.
So you couldn't spare a square?
No, I couldn't spare a square.
So Seinfeld.
Is that as in a cigarette?
No. No. But, I mean, Seinfeld, the ultimate sitcom about nothing. And it was so genius and fell in love with the characters. My dad actually, growing up back in the 90s, my dad was obsessed with Seinfeld. And, this was one of the shows that, if it was on, I'd catch it. I was a little young at the time to really get into it. So I got into this a little bit later.
Yeah.
But looking back now, you can appreciate so much of the humor. There's so many just
If I had seen
iconic episodes. The soup Nazi, the episode with the junior mint falling in the dude that's getting surgery.
What about the episode called The N-Word Guy?
Is that one?
No, I don't know. They made fun of him on South Park, though. Yeah.
Because what's his face? The stand-up comedy Kramer.
Freaked out.
Yeah, freaked out with the racial slurs. That really hurt his image. But
yeah, it did. I appreciate it made the list because even if I've never seen it and don't like it or whatever, there's no denying that it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest sitcom in the world, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, if you're talking 90s sitcoms, Seinfeld has to make the list. So.
Yeah.
Number 10. Number 9, this is what I'm going to let you talk about. The King of Queens.
Yeah, so this is the one that took Seinfeld's place for me.
Okay.
And as you said, I was a little young. I didn't watch it when it first came out. It was all about the reruns when I was like an early teenager watching them. And it stars Kevin James and Leah Remini. Dude, the chemistry they have was just magnetic. So watching the show, you see these two going back and forth, and then you throw in the father. I forget his name.
That's Ben Stiller's dad, Arthur, I believe.
Yeah, Arthur. And you just had magic on the screen. Kevin James, he was at his peak back then. He's kind of weird now. He's hit or miss.
Yep.
But back then, he hit every time. And on screen with Leah Remini was, like I said, on screen magic. It was insane.
You had this at number 6. This wasn't in my top 10, but it was close. I think I had this when I ranked everything.
Yeah.
I think it came in at number 12 for me.
Some of the best sitcoms are just about nothing. Like, it's a UPS driver and his wife living together, and that's it.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I did enjoy it. There were a bunch of good dynamics with the show, and like you said, Leah Remini and Kevin James, great chemistry on screen. And yeah, it deserves to be in the top 10 for sure.
I love it.
This was my loophole.
Yeah.
So number 8.
Yeah.
We mentioned before there was no animated sitcoms. This wasn't animated.
It wasn't animated.
But it was people in costumes.
I'm telling you, man, Ed likes this fuckery that he pulls. We saw it on top 10 fictional bands, and now we're seeing it on top 10 sitcoms.
Not the mama!
We're going to have to write up a contract for this shit.
Dinosaurs, man.
I almost put it there, too. But I was like, you know what? I can find something that I like just as much, and I don't have to worry about a loophole.
So it aired on ABC from 1991 to 1994, and dude, I loved this show.
Good. I don't even know if I made it past was there more than one season?
There's 4 seasons.
I don't know how far I watched into it, but I love that show.
And it was just about these people in dinosaur costumes. I mean, the costume design, the set design, everything was awesome. And
the intro.
Oh, dude, it was so great. And
it was the Flintstones except dinosaurs.
Pretty much, yeah. And the baby was the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, gotta love me.
He had like 5 words that he said through the whole show.
Yeah, not the mama.
Yep.
Gotta love me. And he would just like beat the shit out of the dad.
God, yeah.
And it was so funny. And it was just a great show. Really great show. I got a lot of laughs out of it. They had a couple episodes that got pretty serious too.
Yeah.
Like the ending was ridiculously dark. We talked about in a couple months from now, I think we were going to do our like TV shows with like dark endings or like
surprising endings,
like surprisingly dark endings.
Because this was when the comet hit, right?
Yeah,
I remember.
And like they're all huddled like in their house, and like the winter or whatever is hitting because of climate change, and it just leads to pretty much all of them dying.
Oh my god!
And it's like it's a really dark ending, and I thought it was great, man. I mean, they delved into some deep shit for being people in dinosaur costumes. So I appreciate that show. So number 8, again, I had it at number 5 on my list, not in your top 10, Brian, but number 7 was in both of our top 10.
Yes.
And this goddamn show, man.
This started at
before we get into it, let's name it. Okay, let's name it.
Yeah.
And where we ranked it. Family Matters, man. Or the Urkel Show. It was the Urkel Show.
It was the Urkel Show.
I had this at number 3. You had it at number 10. So you had this higher?
So I had it at 4, and then it kept getting bumped back until finally it was off my list. And I'm like, no, it has to go back on there. And that's how it ended up at number 10.
So it aired from 1989 to 1997, which still makes it a 90s show, primarily in the 90s.
It is a Die Hard spinoff, as we all know, because the father was John McClane's best friend in Die Hard.
Carl Winslow.
Also a cop. And you read some conspiracy theories, they tie up pretty well. That's all I'm saying.
So is that like an ongoing theory? That
I think
it's like
so.
A spinoff of Die Hard?
I've heard it before, and I haven't looked into it in forever, but I remember hearing it and being like, well, goddamn.
But I love this show, and it's interesting watching, and this all goes back to TGIF.
Yeah.
TGIF on ABC, that was the shit growing up. As you know, you watched all that.
TGIF and then Saturday morning cartoons, and you were good for the weekend.
Yeah, and Family Matters, man, it was just an awesome show. Great, no pun intended, but great family dynamic from top to bottom. They had great like life lessons every episode.
Yep.
Jaleel White, Steve Urkel stole the show.
Yeah, and the fact that he could transform from Urkel to, what was
Stefan Urkel.
I was going to say Hefe.
Hefe?
I don't know why, but Stefan, yeah. That made it all the more better because it was legitimately like 2 different characters, 2 different actors playing those characters.
Yeah, and it was great. The chemistry on everybody in that show was terrific. And it's funny, actually, like we've seen, or I've watched some interviews like with the cast, and they've had some reunions recently. This is another show they toyed with having a reunion episode.
Yeah.
to bring people back.
I could see that.
But they were like, at a young age, like Jaleel White mentioned, like a lot of the cast was like pissed at him because they got very jealous because when the show started, the Steve Urkel character was supposed to be like a once in a while character that popped in, and he became such a fan favorite. I mean, he went viral
right
before viral things happened.
That's
Steve
what
Urkel went viral.
dude. When you bring the talent, you start to overshadow people, and it wouldn't have been the show it was if they didn't keep Urkel around. So it was a good move, and shame on those other actresses and actors. And
one thing I liked a lot about these 90s sitcoms too, like they would do cameos in other shows. We'll talk about there was another show that Stephen Urkel showed up in a little bit later in our list.
I'm curious because I forget about that,
and it was such a good cameo.
Huh.
Number 6.
Yeah.
Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Tim Allen's masterpiece of a sitcom. I had this at number 2. Brian, this was not in your top 10, man.
Yeah. This just reminded me of the dad I didn't have growing up.
Aww.
So I just...
Wow.
Just kidding.
I need to find like some sad music. Hang on.
Oh, God. In the arms.
I know. I don't even know if I have anything sad enough to...
No, I mean, truthfully, it was just one of those ones that kind of passed me up as I was going through all the sitcoms when I was younger. And I watch reruns and stuff, but this is another one that kept getting bumped up for me. And some other ones took it out of the list.
Well, not to make light of your fatherly problems, because I don't want to, but this reminds me of the dad I actually did have.
Yeah.
Only because
right.
This dude, like, was my dad.
Well,
like,
because my dad could fix anything. He was, like, really handy. He was a mechanic, and, yeah.
He just couldn't fix your relationship.
He couldn't fix my childhood. That's all.
Oh, my God.
I hope he never listens to any of these.
It's getting dark. I like it.
I know. We just talked. Sometimes getting dark is good, man.
It is. It is. So, Home Improvement, Tim Allen's show with the, it was awesome. It was a spoof on all of the Home Improvement shows. And him, you got Al Borland, the man, the myth, the legend, the bearded wonder.
I remember people used to make jokes like, "Are you related to Jonathan Taylor Thomas?" And I'm like, dude, first of all, it's his middle name. Second of all, that makes no sense because I'm so much better looking than him. Like, no, I'm not.
JTT.
The hot throb.
Oh, my God. My sister had all of the magazines, like, posting them to her wall.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Back when you actually put magazine stuff on the wall. I feel like that's not a thing anymore.
Well, no. Now they've got it. They've got it on the phone.
Yeah,
they can flick around and be like,
their
hey.
wallpaper.
But yeah, I mean, this show was great. So many laughs, and Tim Allen just did a great job in
Killed
this.
it.
And he carried this character. Obviously a big movie we talked about before in our fandom Christmas time, the Santa Claus.
Yeah. Yep.
And seeing him, in this show plus in that. Then he became, Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
And then Last Man Standing, which was very controversial because he's a very conservative man.
Yep.
But, he never misses, dude. And this was, again, at his peak. It just worked out so well.
Yeah, but so many funny episodes. And they too, like, they didn't pull punches. Like, some of those episodes got deep,
right.
man.
That's you have a good sitcom when you touch on really heavy stuff.
Yep.
And get it heavy, but they keep the comedy around. So it's a really fine balance that all these shows on this list hit really good.
Yeah, there's a couple shows we're going to get to pretty soon that I think mastered that.
Yes.
And
this is not one of them, I don't think.
No, this is definitely not one of them. I was trying to find a segue off of that into this, and nope. But this is why this show is amazing.
It stuck to what it knew.
Love and marriage. Married with Children at number 5.
My love for MILFs was discovered for Peggy in this show, which is weird because that's my grandmother's name. Very confusing childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we're learning
Very
some things
confusing.
this episode about you.
No, but you obviously know. All right, so this was your number 7 pick.
You had it at number 5.
I had it at number 5.
That was enough to bring it up to consensus number 5.
Again, like a lot of these, it was all the repeats when I was growing up. And You know my favorite episode. One I remember and will remember till the day I die is when they go away into that little motel and there's a murderer going around.
Yes.
And they lay on the bed and the knife comes up through the mattress. Dude, another one of the moments that introduced me to my love for horror.
I liked it too because a lot of the sitcoms would kind of fall in, especially in the 90s. It was kind of more the cookie cutter family. Or even if it wasn't quite the cookie cutter family, it would still keep it very upbeat, very optimistic, funny. Married with Children was funny because the whole family was so goddamn dysfunctional. Like the character of Al Bundy was amazing.
Good God.
This disgruntled shoe salesman.
Yeah. And like it was realer. It was more realistic. And yeah, you could, when you're seeing like families like Seventh Heaven, you know, it's good to be a normal family, watch Married with Children, and just realize like, oh, this is really funny. Again, a sitcom about bullshit, but it worked so well.
And I mean, and the funny thing in the end was, you know, Al Bundy was a more normal one because the Seventh Heaven dad was diddling kids in real life.
Right? He was only sniffing feet. The Seventh Heaven guy was like, he went full bore crazy. Yeah.
Seventh Heaven.
And he was smoking weed with the kids and shit. It was weird, but
yeah, Married with Children. My God, dude, Christina Applegate too.
Yum.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yes.
That was fun.
And then she went on to do many, many movies. The Sweetest Thing being one of the sweetest things ever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yep.
So good. Number 4. It's all right. I've been saved by the bell. Saved by the Bell. I had this at number 9. Brian, you had it at number 2. So I'm going to let you talk about this one.
I'm surprised that you had this at number 9. This is one, usually I don't question your choices a lot. Like, all right, I get it. This is one I have no idea how you came up with number 9 on it because, so in the summers, elementary school maybe middle school, when there wasn't shit to do, I would sit around all day long and watch reruns of the show, or even before school in the morning, because back then I used to not wake up with 10 minutes to get to work / school.
Oh yeah.
You know, you'd wake up, eat breakfast, all that good stuff, and I'd watch reruns of this show. I mean,
every kid wanted to be Zach Morris.
Yeah, you wanted to be Zach Morris. It was just, you can't even put a finger on what made it so special. It just, watching it before school, there at school, it was the cool thing.
I mean, I think it was, especially where we're located too, you know, because we're on the East Coast. The winters are cold. It gets shitty. They're always in warm Bayside.
That's
you
true.
know, in Cali. They're partying. They're doing all this cool shit. And it's like, man, I'm like, that looks like just such a cool place to be at. Cool high school.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, another show that had a kind of a weird character that went viral, but Screech.
Yeah,
which,
right.
I mean, you know, rest in peace, Dustin Diamond just died a couple months back.
We all know why they kept him around, though. That big old horse dick in his pants. He may be dead, but his dick lives on forever.
Oh shit, man!
His dick will have a long history in the books.
So if you're listening and you're curious why Brian knows this, again, the daddy issues and wanting to fuck his grandma. But no, Dustin Diamond was into porn, like hardcore.
Yes, very hardcore.
Hardcore. He was Saved by the Bell.
But this is also another pattern in the best sitcoms is likable characters. Screech, Urkel, Al Bundy, you know. The key is having good side characters, but great singular characters that show up every episode.
Yeah, and they did a good job with that in this show.
Yeah.
You know, they had a lot of people that kind of fell into the stereotype high school roles.
Right.
But they still...
And they tackled heavy subjects, but like in a light way. Like, Jesse was basically addicted to coke, but it was caffeine pills.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I can't put him down, Zach, help me. And it's like, dude, it's caffeine pills, calm down. But really, they're talking about cocanas.
But I mean, they got into everything, man. I mean, there was drug use,
Yep.
there was the driving drunk episode, there
That's
was
right.
like multiple heavy things, but then a ton of funny shit too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Saved by the Bell, number 4. We're into the top 3, Brian.
Number 3.
Into the top 3. And what better way to start with the top 3 than your number 1 pick,
This is the only other one I have a problem with.
Boy Meets World.
How dare you put that shit in the early numbers?
So you had this as your number 1 overall 90s sitcom.
Of course I did.
I did number 8. It still made my top 10, bro.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, but I don't know. I thought our love for Boy Meets World extended beyond the physical connection.
I liked Boy Meets World. I never loved Boy Meets World. I loved Topanga.
Yep. So talk about having magazine pictures on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
There's one I remember, and that's Topanga. Always and forever. I don't know. Maybe I think it was Sean, maybe, because I was basically Sean growing up. You know? And I really connected with Sean. Like, Corey was good, and he was a really good character, but it was all about Sean for me, and I could relate to a lot of the shit going on in the episodes, and Mr. Feeney was just a tearjerker every fucking episode, and Eric was funny, and again, the Halloween episode they had was goddamn amazing. It actually scared me back then, and it's one of the episodes I still remember to this day.
And again, another show that great dynamics, great cast, they all just meshed really, really well.
Yeah.
But they could get into like heavy shit too.
Yes. Yep.
Which was like one that always sticks in my mind was the episode where Eric gets into drinking.
Yep.
And he ends up getting like shit faced.
Yeah.
And his dad like normally the show is all laughs, this or that, and his dad like flips out. And I remember, like, he yells at Sean when he comes over.
Yes.
And he blames Sean for it, even though he had nothing to do with it.
Right.
You know, and he's like, you know better than your old man,
That's
this or that.
right. Yeah, he goes off on him.
Yeah, and it was really just,
Yeah, it was just one of those things. But when you hear Mr. Matthews yell, you know shit's going down real
I said
quick.
Eric, too. I meant Corey.
Yeah, I figured that. I meant to correct you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what was really good about it, and that's why it was and will always be my number 1 on a sitcom list.
Even with Girl Meets World? Yeah.
I'll give it to them. The first season or 2 wasn't terrible because, of course, I watched it, but it kind of got into territory that was weird and not good. So,
Yeah, I remember we were at Fan Expo Boston, was it 2 years ago?
yeah.
2 or 3 years ago? And they had like the entire Boy Meets World cast.
That's right, yeah.
And you and I were just kind of like from a distance
we
trying to find like Topanga.
Like, yeah, where's Topanga? Oh, no, it's cool. We'll come back. We'll come back.
Oh, man. So, yeah, number 2. We are at number 2. And we're getting in the heavy hitters now.
You know.
And I'm sure there's some people listening right now, like, how the hell have they not mentioned, like, so-and-so?
Right.
And I know there's going to be some people out there that get pissed off. They're like, that should have been in the top 10. Well, let us know in the comments. But number 2, The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, man.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
I can't even remember the theme song right now. It's like drawing a blank. Yeah.
What? Like, the actual theme song?
Yeah. Go home to Bel Air. So I was sitting in my house and, you know. I'm
not going to sing it.
That was the best part of the show, dude. Come on, open your
pulled
mind.
Up to a house about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the dad,
home, smell you later. Yeah, dude.
Look at my kingdom. I was finally there.
I
Sit
had
my
it
throne as a Prince of Bel Air.
At number 3. This was one of the ones I tackled with from my top 3. Like,
well, here's where you and I
2 and 3.
We were closer. I was at number 4. So, So you ended up at number 4 then.
Yes.
So we both ranked this at number 4, which was enough to get it up to consensus rank 2. And I mean, this is really the catalyst. This was the launching point of Will Smith's career.
Yes, it was.
And he was just so electric on screen with what he brought. And again, just unbelievable ancillary characters around him.
Yeah.
You know, Uncle Phil, Carlton, you know, Aunt Bev. It just goes on
he
and on.
He was such a good contrast to the family. And
especially Carlton.
The most charismatic character on this list, I think. Because Urkel was good, but, you know, he had his own special quirkiness. No. Will Smith was just full of charisma and drew you into the screen.
And Uncle Phil, you know, we're talking about, if you want to talk about a character with, like, heart.
Yep.
That could make you feel things.
Hey, yo, Uncle Phil.
Man, Uncle Phil could do that shit.
I'm starting to notice a pattern here. It's weird. I feel like I should talk to my therapist. But that episode where he's like, "Why doesn't he want me, man?" And,
oh yeah.
And Uncle Phil's just like hugs him, and
that's one of the best episodes ever.
I'm like, "No, click the cable box off, bitch."
And a lot of
shit was crazy. Though.
I watched the behind the scenes on that too, and like a lot of that was kind of ad-libbed.
Yeah.
Like he like Uncle
I
Phil,
heard
like
about that.
Uncle Phil actually going up and like embracing Will.
Yeah.
And then like, flicking his hat off and just like grabbing his head. And
That's
like he
right.
actually got like all emotional and shit.
Yeah, because the hat felt more real than it should have in a sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, all of these shows have that common theme, great comedy value, but they know how to tackle serious shit too.
Right.
Which is why I love the 90s, man.
Love it.
Gotta bring it back.
I don't think it's possible anymore. I'm starting to think that you just can't capture the magic of late 80s through the 90s anymore. Because with all the technology and shit, it's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but you just can't feel the way you did about those shows anymore. Especially the political climate and everything. Just doesn't work.
I agree. So Fresh Prince at number 2, I think it deserves to be there.
Yeah.
We're at the number 1 pick, Brian.
Yes. This is one that fought for the number 1 spot for me the whole time.
Yeah, and this is... I was sitting, I was moving, I honest, hand to God, I spent a good hour or two looking at my entire list. I kept shifting things around.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, again, this is personal preference, and this is one of the ones, to this day, it's still so vivid in my mind because I would watch it religiously with my sister growing up. Mm-hmm. Full House.
Yes.
Full House, man, and it was just, we've been talking about characters that have good chemistry, this or that.
Yeah.
This may be like the creme de la creme.
Absolutely. And
Uncle Jesse,
you
Uncle
have
Joey.
cliche characters, but they did an amazing job of not making them feel cliche. Like the quirky brother that lives with them and takes care of them. The bad boy rebel in Jesse, but he likes Elvis and all this other shit. And Danny Tanner, a single father who the mother isn't around at all, which
Dead,
is just strange.
Passed away.
In 90s sitcoms, period. It really did a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, they kind of took the 3 men and a baby concept and added 2 more babies.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah,
it was cool to. It was another show that was, if you're looking at some of these other ones where, we had especially the Olsen twins, Michelle Tanner. The other girls were young to begin with too.
Yeah.
But we grew up with them
right
as the years went on. And it was really cool to see that.
And they fell with us.
No,
as the years went on as well.
Cheers to that, buddy. We've all fallen from grace.
I'll tell you what, though, the other sister, the forgotten sister, has grown very well.
Who's that?
Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, Jesus.
Scarlet Witch, my friend.
Yep, absolutely.
Which, a lot of people apparently don't know. So, Elizabeth Olsen from the Marvel Universe is the sister of the 2 Olsen twins.
The younger.
Yeah.
She definitely got the good genes.
Yeah. Or just grew up without the drugs.
Yeah, maybe.
Learned from her older sisters.
But so many classic episodes, so many funny moments, and again, so many dramatic moments.
And Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky, dude.
She may be in jail now.
I'd bust her out.
I was trying to come up with something. You did it. You got it good. Yeah.
I'd bust it out.
Yeah. I'd lock that down real quick.
Have mercy.
Oh, God. And she doesn't even look like she aged a bit.
I know.
Let's talk about the not the remake, the reboot. That was even really good for the first season and a half.
Yeah, Fuller House.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they were kind of a product of Aunt Becky, all that bullshit that she went through, and the negative spotlight.
Yeah.
It killed that show.
Yeah. Because, Stephanie literally was a meth addict and came back to the show, and it still did good. It took Aunt Becky going to jail to really shut it
which was
down.
actually, good for her, man. She turned her life around, and she's doing really well now.
Right.
But That's the list, my friends. So again, number 10, Seinfeld. Number 9, The King of Queens. Number 8, Dinosaurs. Number 7, Family Matters. Number 6, Home Improvement. Number 5, Married with Children. Number 4, Saved by the Bell. Number 3, Boy Meets World. Number 2, Fresh Prince. And number 1, Full House. But Brian,
Oh, man.
we still have some honorable mentions.
Plenty of them.
And you can maybe we could spend 30 seconds to a minute if just pause me as I go. Mm-hmm. Friends. And that is one of the ones I'm sure there are people watching and listening right now saying, how is Friends not in your top 10? It was in my top 10, but it wasn't enough consensus-wise because Brian did not have it.
Seinfeld and Friends, I have never watched. I've been meaning to get back into Friends.
Bro, I'll be there for you. Come on. I mean, it was, if you're talking the top tier sitcoms, Friends is locked down in there. And unfortunately, I'm with you. Like, it wasn't personally one of my favorites. I mentioned before, like, my mom and sister, diehard Friends fans. And through them, I saw a decent amount of the episodes, but
I didn't understand it when I was younger. It never appealed to me for some reason.
Well, one show that I'm bummed didn't make the top 10 because this was a personal favorite of mine, the Drew Carey Show.
Yeah. I watched it a lot, and I loved it. And honestly, it slipped my mind until I saw the honorable mentions.
Buzz Beer.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Step by Step. That's another one, I'm sure.
It was like
We've
a
got couple
knockoff
people.
Full House, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. That 70s show, which you had in your top 10. I toyed with it, but it came out in 98.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I think of a 90s show, I guess when I think of a 70s show.
Yeah, I just loved it so much that it had to be on the list.
Yeah. Third Rock from the Sun, classic.
Yep.
News Radio. Keenan and Kel, man.
Yeah.
Keenan and Kel, I wanted to get in there.
I toyed with that idea.
This next one, I regret not putting higher in my list. Because, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Melissa Joan Hart, just fucking...
Or even Clarissa Explains It All.
Dude,
One or
yes.
the other, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it would work for both.
But honestly,
absolutely.
I look back at the list, I'm like, which one would I kick out to put that in there? And
I know.
It's hard.
That's what I kept running into.
Yeah.
Sports Night, which was great. Dude, Blossom.
I never
Frickin'
watched that one either.
Blossom.
Yeah.
Frasier, which is another one. There are diehard Frasier fans.
That was a little more mature for me. Like
That was always like back in the day, like you had like instead of the Bloods and the Crips, you had Frasier fans and you had Seinfeld fans.
Right.
And I never got into Frasier.
Seinfeld.
Very dry
Yeah,
humor.
Seinfeld fans are like the beer, and Frasier fans are like the red wine.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Like Walmart and Target.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Ketchup and mustard, you know.
Everybody loves Raymond. Another show that I know a ton of people that were into it. I never super got into it.
Whenever it came on, I liked it, but not enough to put it on the list.
Roseanne. Roseanne was a show that, I'm not going to lie, I hated it.
I liked it more, like, actually in the past 10 years, I went back and watched it. As I grew up, I liked it. Yeah, but back then, I didn't like it at all.
I don't know what it was about the show. Even to this day, I just could never get into Roseanne.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But I got into it a little bit in the later years.
One show I did watch a decent amount, The Nanny.
Yes.
The Nanny with Fran Drescher, and that actually had like a bunch of really funny episodes, but my God, that laugh. Her voice.
Everything about her, I was drawn to. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie.
Dude, she was a smoke show.
She was a babe. The
Back in the day.
the laugh, the dresses, the everything, the hair.
Was not drawn to the laugh, my friend.
I was hitting puberty and
at just the right time.
at just the right time, and Fran Dresser could undress me.
Undresser.
Yeah.
Will and Grace, Mad About You, Wings, Just Shoot Me, Spin City, Martin, which was another one that was up there for me. I wanted to get that in my top 10, which was great. Martin Lawrence, Dahmer and Greg, Sister, dude.
Sister. Yep.
Tia and Tamara
was another one I thought about putting on there.
What else am I missing here? That was the end of my list. Is there anything else I missed?
No, I think we actually covered most of them. The other one, not Sister, but Boy Genius or something.
Oh, yeah. That was like the young kid.
Yeah.
He goes to high
That
school
came
and he's only
before
like
sister,
8.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
We covered a lot of them. I think if you got any more to add, definitely let us know in the comments. But I think we covered the basic field we have here.
Yeah, I'm honestly like, please like comment, message us, let us know. Again, fandomatrandom.com if you want to find all our socials to hit us up. But I'm very curious, randos, what you guys think. And I know like people with their 90s shit, the nostalgia, people get into it. And I'm sure like some of you were like, what the hell are you doing or talking about?
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now. The Friends one is going to blow people's minds.
Absolutely. You're going to be like, what?
And just to let you know, it was in my top 10.
Yeah,
I had it, so don't pitchfork me.
I'm proud of it.
Go
Not
after
in
him.
my top 10. I walk the different path, my friends. Well, not to mention, there's a lot of one-offs, too, where they got one season and were gone. A lot of that shit happened in the 90s, too, so let us know. Yeah.
Well, that about wraps it up. Brian, enjoy your vacation, my friend.
I'm going to. Yep. I'm going to eat a lot of food, drink a lot of beer, have a lot of sunny days.
There you go.
Yeah. So there's that. Yeah.
You enjoy those sunny days.
Good old North Conway.
And just make sure you're protected on those sunny days, my friend.
Of course. I got an umbrella.
All right, randos, we're out. Later.